Hey everybody, welcome in TA Tuesday, the segment that everybody loves. So thank you all for being here, and happy Tuesday. No tacos today, but maybe pizza. Let's jump in and talk about how to identify a breakout right before one actually happens, and what I typically look at. A lot of people asked me yesterday. Well, let's just jump in and tell you what I say anyway. Math, money, freedom, not financial advice. But yesterday, people said, how come we knew we were kind of close and 4 hours after the video Bitcoin exploded? Well, a whole bunch of different things. So I'm going to jump in and explain what I actually look at and how I identify these patterns. So first of all, let me make sure this video is popping. It is. Great. And let's talk a little about the news. And you guys may have heard this already. Huge conviction from Jack Dorsey. As you guys know, he is dedicating his whole life now to Bitcoin and making it better. But on Tuesday, today, the former CEO of Twitter said that Bitcoin will replace the US dollar. And he was in some tweet back and forth with a rapper, Cardigan B. And Cardigan B asked, do you think crypto is going to replace the dollar? And he said, yes. Real simple. So that was kind of abrupt. Anyway, in other news, one of the things that we did pick up as we jump into all this TA stuff is to talk about this. This is probably the most important chart I will show today. As one thing I track very carefully. This is from Glassnode. This is the Bitcoin illiquid supply. And when you look at this carefully, you'll see a magnificent gradual increase that shows that the diamond hands are accumulating Bitcoin and putting into cold storage. But the key thing is the rate at which they are accumulating Bitcoin. And the rate at which they've been accumulating Bitcoin for the last 11 weeks is basically 3.4 times the issuance rate of Bitcoin, i.e. the amount that's being mined, but the miners aren't even selling it. So those Bitcoin aren't even hitting the market. So needless to say, one of the reasons I am super bullish, and you've heard me say this now since I started this channel earlier this year, this is not sustainable. There will come a time when the supply will run out. There'll be no more left because the miners aren't selling and the accumulation is happening at 3.4 times the rate of the mining, and we will go parabolic. So currently about 14.5 million Bitcoin are held by long-term hodlers and not much else. So there will be an ongoing restriction of supply as we go forward. I just don't know when that's going to hit, but it is going to hit. That's one thing that is certain. That's why I always say, as many others do, it's number go up technology. It's programmed to go up. No ifs, ands, or buts. So let's talk about my triple bottom. You've heard me talk about triple bottoms before, but here, this is what we had over the last 5 days. Triple bottom, December 18th, December 17th, December 20th. All breaking through the 46K level. We were hovering around the 47K level for 16 and a half days, I think it was. And this was my signal in yesterday's video that capitulation was close, because we were just getting to that last time. And I believe in threes, and this triple bottom thing has happened over and over again. And now others are beginning to talk about it too, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But now Bitcoin is over 49K. We'll see. I started this at $49,050. We'll see if we can get above 49,100, 49,200 during the stream, because of all the good juju from you guys. But anyway, that's kind of where we are, and we have popped quite high in a short window of time. But let's look at a couple of other factors that are important to note here. One is we did find support at that 0.618 Fibonacci level. That support held, which is a very bullish sign. Ultimately, sometime in the future, that could become a future support level, depending on how high we go, how far we go. Also, note that that fib level is just below the 200-day moving average. That's the blue line. The red one is the 50-day, the blue one's the 200, and the green line that I painted in is the 0.618 fib level. So again, all of this is kind of corresponding together. But let's look at another indicator that's important to look at too. You've heard me talk about the 3 steps. I like triple bottoms and 3 steps. And this is one I just want to reiterate. If you've seen me before, you will know about this. This is another view of the 3-step. And the descending line the downslope since November 8th. And this is the first time we have broken out of this descending line, which means the sellers are exhausted. But how do we identify that? So just to make sure we can see that green line going down intersects the 50-day moving average and the 200-day moving average, all at the big confluence point of step 3. And we have this little weird funnel. So again, TA is a self-fulfilling proposition. People kind of trade around these support lines as we go forward. Now, Will Clemente also noticed the breakout. He painted a little bit differently than I did, but here Will has been saying for a long time he's kind of on the fence, a little bit bearish until we can break out above 53. My number is 50, so it all depends on who you are and what you're looking at. But Will Clemente did post this as well today, that he sees the breakout too. Now, speaking of 3 steps, I found this very interesting. Crypto Caesar posted this today as well, and saying that Bitcoin has been in a huge range of accumulation, printing higher lows over time. And this is the 3 steps. I painted them in 1, 2, 3. They're my numbers, not his. But he has that big purple box, and that purple box is what he calls the accumulation range. And we'll talk about some of the on-chain analytics in a minute that reflect that. But nothing is bearish about this at all, according to him. In fact, quite the contrary. It looks like 2022 might be an epic hodl rocket, were his exact words. So let's look into seller exhaustion and accumulation and see what we can find. And it's nice to see other people seeing the 3 steps that I saw a month or so ago. So now, first of all, sellers are exhausted and the upside should be coming soon. This one is the net realized profit loss metric, and it represents the magnitude of profit or loss realized by all holders spending coins. Now, the realized profit loss is assessed relative to the price when a coin was last traded, it last moved. Now, the important thing here, the red below the line is negative values, and these indicate losses are being realized on chain. So people are selling at a loss. Like you buy at 60K, you sell at 47K. Boom, you lost 13,000 on that Bitcoin. Now, where price continues to trend lower, this indicates capital outflows are occurring, and deep low values can signal investor capitulation, which I've been talking about. And we saw one of those happen in very early December as well. And that's kind of the pain. Now, we saw lots of profit taking and selling as well in mid-November. As you can see, the big green spike there as well. And that now where we are, based on the line of the chart, it appears that all the selling is done. Again, a good positive sign. Now, this is probably the second most important thing we'll look at today. This is the RSI Bullish Divergence. So if you look at this chart here, again, excuse my crude buy, and my 4 red circles, not 3, but there were 4 today, but the ascending RSI support that you can see here in this chart. Now, a bullish divergence occurs when the RSI creates an oversold reading, followed by a higher low that matches correspondingly lower lows in the price. This indicates rising bullish momentum, and a break above oversold territory could be used to trigger a new long position. So we're watching this carefully. We've got to get that RSI just above that 50 level, and then it should be rocket time, perhaps many people believe. But it's also important when you look at the lines of when the RSI is completely oversold to where the price chart is above. Again, it indicates buy. The rings where it says it's completely oversold, and I use a lot of RSI to position a lot of my trades and identify when things are completely bottomed out. And sometimes I wait for MACD confirmation as well. But there, red, first ring, buy, second ring, buy, third ring, buy, fourth ring, buy. I mean, you could nearly just trade exclusively off RSI and you'd be doing pretty well. As long as you got the time frame right as well as you go forward. Now, Justin FX, big thank you to Sanjay who sent this in. As always, Dr. Sanjay. This shows, according to him, he still seems very bearish. And a little bounce from Bitcoin today, he thinks it could be a bull trap, not a bear trap. And he still believes we are in a sideways market. So it's good to get other people's opinions. He did have a video explaining his thesis. I did not look at his video. But he believes he has to get above 53K to convince him otherwise, which is coincidentally the exact same number that William Clemente has been talking about for 3 or 4 weeks now. And he says, until then, I'll continue to eye the 42K area as where we are going next as support. So again, I don't see us going down to 42K, but it's good to have that kind of bearish sentiment in there just to keep us all honest all the time. Now, entities in profit has plummeted to 74.9% from 100%. This is a crazy chart. So there's a couple of things to unpack here. Again, thank you to last node. This is a precipitous fall, not only for a few weeks, but check out the bottom at the very beginning of August. This is a good indicator that selling pressure is done. This is far higher than the July price. So remember, step out for a second before we go in. July, we went all the way down to around 28.8, I think it was, just under 30K. And we had that same 25% of people at a loss. Now the price is a lot higher, 47K, 25% of people at a loss, which is very hard to wrap your head around. But what it tells you is a lot of people, a large amount of supply was spent. The people that sold their coins went to new hands at high prices. This is typically when the whales kind of sell into strength and they're picked up by the newbies. And the newbies are left holding the bags. But the price action did not follow, which means spinach hands, these people have also sold. They jumped into Bitcoin, bought high, sold low. Classic case of what you're not supposed to do in this market. So let's look at it another way. There's the UTXO. There's the unspent transaction output. UTXO refers to the amount of digital currency someone has left remaining after executing a crypto transaction, like buying or selling Bitcoin. The letters stand for unspent transaction output, and every Bitcoin transaction begins with coins used to balance the ledger. At the price now, you'll see I drew in two arrows. One is the price right now, the gray little bar. It's kind of a bit of an eye chart, but it's a very long chart to fit on a page. And everything above that gray line is the 25% of all coins that have changed hands above that 47K level. And these are all the new people, the new players, the new market entrants that jumped in and they're at a loss right now. They're the ones that have been selling. And if you look at all the other ones, look at the whale accumulation, look at the people with 0 to 10 Bitcoin accumulating. These people are the ones not accumulating. So let's just quick recap of where we are with Bitcoin adoption. This was a cool little tweet you saw earlier today, slightly modified. And we say gradually, then suddenly. So in 2010, no one uses it. 2012, only nerds use it. 2013, only drug dealers use it. 2014, only money launderers use it. 2017, only gamblers use it. 2019, only a small percentage use it. 2020, only small companies use it, like MicroStrategy. 2021, only small countries use it. So we're still very early in this IQ test, everybody. And 2022, we will still be early. So congratulations to those who got in. Now, looking at the BITO, this is the Bitcoin futures contract. And we spoke a bit about Contango before, but this is the first time I could actually spell it out very clearly with a graphical chart. This is the comparison of the BITO, which is the I think it's ProShares Bitcoin Strategy ETF, I think that's what it's called. And we knew Contango would be at least 1% per month, but from this chart, it's a lot worse. And this basically, what I'm trying to iterate here is, this is not a tool. You don't invest in the BITO Futures ETF to hold it for more than 12 weeks, because you will get shafted. So what this illustrates, over the last 64 days, BITO has lost, or bled, as Benjamin Cohen likes to say, 3.3% against Bitcoin. That's staggering. That's nearly 19% annualized. And when you compare that to the management fee of 2%, that's 9 times higher than a 2% annual management fee from like Grayscale for GBTC. So again, everybody, do not buy BITO to hold it and think you're holding Bitcoin, because you will just bleed it away in the Contango effect. So I thought that was an interesting one to look at. Now let's talk about Luna. Luna shoots up the charts again to number 9, just pushing Avalanche and Polkadot back as it goes forward, which has been super, super impressive. One of the reasons people go ask me, why'd you suddenly change your mind on Luna? Well, long story, I won't go into it, but one of the key factors I really do like is the inflation rate is only 3.49%. Stock to flow, 29 years. Total projected supply 996. But what gets even more interesting is this. If you look at the chart, Luna has gone up 70% in 7 days. But if you look at it carefully, you can see how volatile this was. I mean, from 50 to 65, 70, down to 50, up again and down and up again. It blew out to an all-time high today. So the reason I got in was it's not necessarily a smart contract platform like I like. That's why I stayed away from it for such a long time. But now there's a couple of things happening that I really, really like. One is had a couple of new recent developments, including adjustments to the Terra protocol's burn mechanism, which is extremely aggressive. It's not like one of these fake burn mechanisms, but this one is substantial. And the projected burn is about 88.675 million. That's nearly 10% of the total supply. And that's worth about 4.5 billion right now from community pools. So the burn is huge. And ultimately, at this rate, it could become deflationary, especially at that level. How that burn will be staggered out over time, I need to dig into some more. But it was it showed tremendous relative strength. It is being widely adopted. It's becoming a top stable coin as we go forward. And also their development team is releasing a lot of upgrades. One of them is Columbus 5, a recent upgrade that introduced several technological improvements and changed the way UST is pegged to Terra's stablecoin. So tons of good news there as well regarding Luna. And a little bit of Sol news. I try not to mention Sol too much. But one of the uncanny things that has happened actually between Sol and Ethereum over the last 3 months or so, they are neck and neck. Sol is up 40% over the last 3 months or something, and Ethereum is up 39%. So they are almost even, which is staggeringly close. I always expect Sol to move faster than Ethereum, and I expect Ethereum to move faster than Bitcoin, but it looks like Luna's moving faster than everybody else right now. And finally, let's talk about Tesla for a second. Tesla selling done. Elon Musk, obviously, I was kind of fortunate that he was going to do a lot of his selling, which brought a lot of selling pressure to the stock. Took it down under, I think it hit 886 or something. Today was the low point. But yesterday, I actually covered the last of my remaining shorts at about 896. If I waited till this morning, I could have got a little bit lower, but it was fine. And I do believe, based on some of the indicators, Tesla is back up on the move again, added another 35, 40 points today, and it's breaking out. So I do believe we're heading back north of $1,000 in short order. So that is the Tesla news. Speaking of Tesla and Elon Musk, this was an interesting one from Scott Galloway on immigration. He has this thing called Chart of the Week. And I thought it was interesting because, Elon Musk is getting a lot of flack from some politicians. But his point was immigrants like Elon Musk start businesses at twice the rate of US-born individuals. And Scott describes immigrants as the lifeblood of the US economy. And closing borders is not productive in his opinion. But basically, entrepreneurs are double rate of people US-born, which I thought was interesting. So go Elon, we're a big fan. Hope you guys like the content. That's it for today. Just a short one. And this is going to kind of weird, but Bitcoin, as I said, it would be above 49.2. It is 49.206 right now as we close. So I see us getting above 50K real soon. So good night, everybody. Thank you for being here for the 20 minutes. Hope you like the content. Hit the likes. Big thank you to the moderators as well for keeping us all safe. See you all tomorrow.